Thank you everyone for joining us for today's scoping meeting for the Five Points Union project. Hello and welcome to the meeting. This project site, also known as the Phillips 66 site, is located in the Wilmington, Harbor City, and San Pedro Community Plan area. My name is Kathleen King. I will be presenting the project for tonight's scoping meeting, and I am also the project planner. A quick note, this meeting is being recorded, and a Spanish version of the scoping meeting will be provided on Thursday, August 28th. If you have any technical issues during the meeting, please go ahead and send an email to kirsten.turner@lacity.org. That's spelled KIERSTEN .Turner, TURNER, @lacity.org. The meeting will begin with a presentation, followed by a Q&A session. And I also want to note that in addition to my colleague Kirsten joining us, we have the project applicants Heather Krosner, Josh Leidy, Tom Marshall, and Rafa Garcia. We have the project owner, Nick Weinberg, project representatives Ben Saltzman and Joe Spence, environmental consultant Stephanie Eystone, and transportation consultant Sarah Drobis and Emily Wong. We'll go ahead and provide instructions on how to participate and provide comments or questions at the end of the presentation. So we just please ask that you wait to raise your hand until the Q&A session. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera for the rest of the presentation, and then I'll go ahead and turn it back on once we move into the Q&A session. All right, so to get started, the agenda for tonight's scoping meeting is really to explain the purpose of the scoping meeting, provide an overview of the city's review process, walk through the project details, provide information regarding how to submit written public comments on the environmental impacts of the project, and to go ahead and answer questions. It should be noted that this is an informational meeting and no decisions regarding the project will be made today. An application for the redevelopment of the Phillips 66 site with the Five Points Union project has been filed with the Department of City Planning. And the first step of the city's review process, project review process, is to conduct an environmental review of the project pursuant to the requirements of the California Environmental Quality Act, or better known as CEQA. And for this project, the city has published a notice of preparation, or an NOP, of an environmental impact report, often referred to as an EIR, with a 30-day public comment period, which includes this informational scoping meeting for the public. The purpose of the scoping meeting and public comment period is to receive feedback from the public on the scope and content of the environmental information to be included in the EIR. As stated in the NOP, the city intends to analyze all CEQA environmental topics in the next step of the environmental review, which is a project's draft EIR. As stated previously, no decision is being made on the project today, and the purpose of this meeting is to present project information to the public and take questions. While the city values all public input in this initial environmental review phase, the questions and comments really should be focused on the environmental aspects of the project. Additional public meetings will be held on the project after the environmental review is complete. All right, so this flow chart shows the city's review process for the project starting on the left. The city has completed the first step of the environmental review process and has notified public agencies and nearby residents and owners about the project. The project is now in the second step of the review process, as the city is holding two public scoping meetings, one of which is tonight. Written comments regarding the scope of the environmental topics that the city should study more in depth during the EIR preparation will be accepted until September 12th, 2025. All the blue squares on this slide represent additional opportunities for public input during the review process. After the close of the public comment period, the city will review all written comments submitted in writing and then begin to prepare in-depth technical studies and a draft EIR. Once a draft EIR has been prepared, a notice will be sent to the public regarding the information and access to the draft EIR with a 45-day public comment period. After the draft EIR comment period closes, staff will review all written public comments and prepare our final EIR. The final EIR will contain responses to each of the written comments received and will also include any necessary revisions and/or clarifications to the draft EIR. Once the environmental review has been completed, the final EIR will be published and the city will hold a public hearing for the project and will consider testimony on the environmental document and the applicant's zoning related entitlement request to the city. The project will then be heard by the City Planning Commission at a public meeting, followed by public meetings by the City Council before a decision on the project is made. All right, so now we'll go ahead and provide an overview of the project. The project is located within the Wilmington Harbor and San Pedro community plan areas, as shown in the figure on the left. The site is generally bound by Anaheim Street to the north, the 110 freeway to the east, a small vacant parcel adjacent to Westmont Drive and existing industrial buildings to the south, and Gaffey Street to the west. An aerial view of the project site is shown on the right. The approximately 440-acre site is comprised of several parcels. In yellow is a 414-acre Los Angeles Refinery Wilmington or Phillips 66 site. In orange is an approximately 10-acre vacant parcel located to the north of Anaheim Street next to Ken Malloy Park. In blue is an approximately 19-acre liquefied petroleum gas LPG storage facility located to the southwest. And in black is an 0.08-acre parcel located east of the 110 freeway. Development in the vicinity of the project site is characterized by a mix of uses. So to the north are industrial, commercial, residential, educational, and recreational uses and buildings. This includes Ken Malloy Harbor Regional Park and Los Angeles Harbor College. And to the east are residential uses in the 110 freeway. To the south is the Port of Los Angeles and industrial warehouse buildings. And to the west, across Gaffey Street, are athletic fields, a former military storage and depot facility, and commercial uses. So this slide shows the current site conditions of the project site. Starting from the south end of the site, the blue outline shows the LPG site, which consists of two 12.5 million gallon refrigerated tanks and 5 60,000 gallon horizontal storage tanks. The yellow shows the Phillips 66 refinery, which includes buildings with office, cafeteria, industrial, and laboratory uses, and over 1,000 tanks, 7 pressurized storage vessels, and refinery-related equipment and processing structures. The orange shows the vacant parcel located north of West Anaheim Street, and it should be noted that there is a substantial grade change on the northern portion of the site along Gaffey Street. The project site plan is shown on slide 7. The project proposes to remove all existing buildings and facilities and perform remediation activities to clean up the site. After remediation, the project site would be redeveloped. As outlined in orange, the northern portion would be developed with commercial and recreational uses in the town center. As outlined in blue, the southern portion would be developed with industrial uses, including warehouse and outdoor storage within the industrial center. Build-out of the site would be completed as early as 2037 or as late as 2053, and the EIR will analyze both build-out years. All right, so now we'll start going through the project, the town center portion of the project in more detail. So this is the western portion of the town center. This area will include recreational areas, retail and restaurant uses, and a grocery store. As shown in this slide in blue are areas that will have playgrounds and park spaces. In orange are potential restaurant and retail spaces. In yellow are retail spaces only. And in green is the potential location for a grocery store. We can see that there are pedestrian paths and green spaces which are provided along the southern edge as well as throughout the town center. So then moving east, here is the central portion of the town center. Along the north side of Anaheim Street in gray is a 60,000 square foot private indoor sports facility, and in blue are 2 public soccer fields. Along the south side of Anaheim Street, outlined in orange, are additional retail and restaurant uses, which would be situated around the center's plaza and lawn, which is outlined in blue. On the eastern portion of the town center, in blue are the public soccer fields north of West Anaheim Street. 2 potential retail restaurant buildings shown in orange would surround an additional open space area located on the south side of West Anaheim Street, known as a local artist sculpture garden. And lastly, in green would be a major retail store and gas station on the southern portion of the town center. There would be a 50-foot landscape buffer along the site's eastern perimeter, with the closest retail building being approximately 110 feet from the nearest residences. Oh, apologies. So that is the green outlining the major retail store and gas station. Apologies, I didn't realize that didn't populate. All right, so now we'll briefly discuss pedestrian and vehicle access and internal circulation within the town center. In the upper left-hand corner of the slide are blue lines, or hash marks, I should say, showing where there is an existing underground pedestrian passage connecting to the northwest portion of the site to Ken Malloy Park, and existing pedestrian paths are also located in this area. The project would construct an approximately 1 mile new sidewalk along Gaffey Street, and the existing sidewalk along Anaheim Street would be reconstructed and planted with shade trees. 2 new signalized crosswalks shown in red are proposed along West Anaheim Street, connecting the south side of the town center to the sports facility and soccer field on the north side. Additionally, the project site would connect with existing trails within Ken Malloy Harbor Regional Park to the north. As shown here, 8 pedestrian entrances along Gaffey Street and West Anaheim Street would provide access to the project's 3.5 miles of community walking paths connecting to various open spaces and commercial uses. Here's a rendering of the improved street frontage along West Anaheim Street looking west. The sports facility and public soccer fields are on the right, and the sidewalk and landscape buffer with shade trees is shown on the left. Proposed vehicle access to the town center is shown on this slide. Vehicle access will be provided via driveway along Gaffey Street, 6 driveways along the south side of Anaheim Street, and 2 driveways providing access to the north side to the sports facility and soccer fields. So to summarize, the proposed town center would be integrated with the Ken Malloy Harbor Regional Park and surrounding neighborhood by introducing new walking path connections, and would provide opportunities for large and local retailers and a range of recreational spaces, including active playgrounds and a sculpture garden and plaza area. As shown in this table, the town center would be primarily comprised of commercial and retail and restaurant uses, with some community meeting spaces and an indoor sports facility. Additionally, there would be 3 acres of publicly accessible outdoor sports fields, 3.5 miles of walking paths, and 27 acres of public outdoor areas. The images on this slide include elevations of potential commercial retail buildings that would be located in the town center. The building's facades will be comprised of varying heights, facade breaks, materials, and colors. Buildings would be located in the town center. They would be limited to 65 feet in height on the north side of West Anaheim Street and 40 feet in height on the south side of West Anaheim Street. So here's a rendering of the plaza and lawn located in the center of the town center, surrounded by commercial uses, and with a portion of the surface parking lot being designated to be flexible, to be closed off, and as we can see here, used as a plaza for events like farmers markets. The industrial center would be located to the south or on the left side of this rendering, and the proposed sports facility is shown in the background. As noted earlier, the town center would include a variety of recreational spaces, including the Gateway Playground illustrated here. The playground would include a Smile and Jack feature, open green space areas, walking paths, and gardens. Here are elevations of the 60,000 square foot industrial sports facility. The sports facility would be located on the north side of West Anaheim Street, adjacent to 2 athletic fields and then surface parking. Similar to the southern portion of the town center, murals, expansive windows, facade breaks, and varying materials would be incorporated into the architecture and design of the building. As shown in this rendering, 2 full-size public soccer fields located on the north side of West Anaheim Street, adjacent to the indoor sports facility, would provide additional recreation opportunities for the community. All right, now we'll focus on the industrial center component of the project. There are 2 development options that are proposed for the industrial center uses: the reduced outdoor storage option and the additional outdoor storage option. Both options have the same overall uses, massing, site access, and site layout, but vary in the allocation of indoor and outdoor industrial uses within the southernmost portion of the site. The site plans shown here illustrate the differences between the options. On the left side is the reduced outdoor storage option, with a much larger warehouse building as compared to the additional outdoor storage option shown on the right, with a smaller warehouse building but greater outdoor storage area. Overall, as shown in this table, the industrial center uses would include warehouse and office uses, as well as an outdoor storage area. Cold storage uses would also be allowed, as well as an EV truck charging station and battery storage. The reduced outdoor storage option would include 664,000 more square feet of warehouse uses and 28 fewer acres for outdoor storage uses as compared to the additional outdoor storage option. All right, so proposed car and truck access to the industrial center is shown on this slide. There would be no public access to industrial center for security purposes, and truck ingress and egress would be restricted to the new tunnel shown here in orange from John S. Gibson Boulevard, which I do want to note is an established truck route. Truck access would be prohibited from West Anaheim Street and Gaffey Street, and industrial center employees would have direct access from Gaffey Street, shown here, via a driveway, and to the town center through two internal security gates. Through two internal security gates. And this would really avoid the industrial center employees having to exit the site and re-enter at one of the town center driveways. I do want to reiterate that those two internal access points from the industrial center to the town center are just to allow the employees to access the town center internally. So here the warehouse buildings, which are outlined in orange, can be seen in the background of this rendering. We can see that the industrial center facades facing the town center would include colorful graphics, and service and loading areas would be screened from public view. And there would be office areas which would be located at two corners of each building. The smallest and shortest three buildings would range in size from approximately 200,000 square feet to 600,000 square feet and would be a maximum of 55 feet tall. These three buildings would be located closest to the town center. The largest and tallest three buildings would be located on the southern portion of the site, away from the adjacent residential neighborhood, and also the town center, and would range in size from 750,000 square feet to 1.4 million square feet with a maximum height of 115 feet. So here is an example of a north elevation of a warehouse building, which, as you can see, includes murals, floor-to-ceiling windows for the ancillary office uses, and the incorporation of various building materials along different facades. Native and drought-tolerant landscaping would be provided in the industrial area to provide green spaces for employees. This is a preliminary drawing of potential landscaping that could be provided at the edge of an industrial building and parking area. Additionally, a 100-foot landscape buffer would be provided along the eastern perimeter of the industrial center, with the closest warehouse being approximately 300 feet from the nearest residence, and truck bays would be located even further away. Okay, so that concludes the summary of the project, but I do want to touch on a couple of other things before we move into the Q&A. Just as a reminder, the city is currently at the initial steps of the environmental review process. While the city often prepares an initial study to narrow down which environmental topics should be studied further in depth within the EIR, for this project, all of the CEQA environmental topics will be analyzed in the draft EIR, all of which are listed on this slide. The applicant has also submitted an application to the Department of City Planning with the following entitlement requests, which include the preparation of an EIR. And generally, the requests to the city include changes to the land use and zoning to create a specific plan, which is a tailored set of zoning regulations for the development. Requests also include establishing specialized signage regulations, a subdivision of the site, and a development agreement for public benefits. As a reminder, there will be more public comment opportunities for the entitlement requests. I also want to take this moment to note that the city maintains an interested parties list for the project. If you would like to be added to this list to receive all future city project communications, notices of hearings and such, please contact me via email or mail and provide your contact information. All right, so this slide wraps up the presentation portion of the scoping meeting and provides instructions for how to submit a written comment to the city. Please note that the city requires all comments to be submitted in writing to be considered as part of the record. You may submit public comment via mail to the following address at 221 North Big Street, Suite 1350, Los Angeles, California, 90012, or via email to kathleen.king@lacity.org. Please submit all comments no later than 4:30 p.m. on September 12th, 2025. This is the only way to submit a formal comment during the comment period. The same information is also included on the notice of preparation. Okay, so with that, we'll now be moving into the question and answer portion of the meeting. Please Please be reminded that asking a question or comment during this portion of the meeting does not constitute a formal written comment to be included as part of the NOP comment period. And I do want to briefly remind everyone of the members of the applicants team who are participating in tonight's scoping meeting. Just give me 1 second and I'll turn my camera back on. All right, so hi again. So at this time, I do want to take a moment to reintroduce the applicants team that are also available for questions regarding the draft DAR scope. So we have project applicants Heather Krosner, Josh Leidy, Tom Marshall, and Rafa Garcia. We have the project owner, Nick Weinberg, project representatives, Ben Saltzman and Joe Spence, environmental consultant, Stephanie Eystone, and transportation consultants, Sarah Drobis and Emily Wong. Just a quick note to please focus your comments on the 5 Points Union project and really to direct all of your comments to city staff. Please note attendees will have an initial opportunity to speak. If you have follow-up questions or comments following your turn to speak, you may submit them to me in writing at kathleen.king@lacity.org. If you've joined tonight's scoping meeting via computer, please use the raise hand icon to indicate your desire to comment or ask a question. Staff will call out your name as entered in Zoom. And if you've called into tonight's scoping meeting and are listening via phone, please press *9 to raise your hand. Staff will call out the last 4 digits of your telephone number when it's your turn to speak, if you're participating via phone. You'll then most likely need to press *6 when prompted to unmute. So with that, we will go ahead and get started with the Q&A. Thank you, everyone. In the Q&A, Kirsten, if you want to go ahead and call out the first person.
All right, thank you, Kathleen. We're going to start with Lori Jacobs. You are now unmuted.
Thank you. 2 initial comments. One, the truck access on Gibson, having just 1 access for the amount of trucks, the volume you're going to have is totally inefficient and would definitely cause backup gridlock. And main point I want to make is that you have not allowed enough time for neighborhood councils to weigh in on the NOP. We need at least 60 days due to our regulations in posting and weighing in on things. So I ask that you please consider changing that date, extend the date. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori, for both comments. I don't see anyone else with a hand raised right now. Oh, here. Okay, there's a couple more. But yeah, please go ahead and raise your hand. We don't need to wait. We can see hands as they're raised. So we're just going to go in the order of the hands that are raised. So if you have a question or comment, please go ahead and raise your hand as you think of it.
All right, we're going to go to the next person. Raymond, you're now unmuted.
Hi, Ray Regalado with the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council. One thing I would like to do, and I hope I don't go into people's wish to hurry up with the questions, but I have to emphasize the fact that neighborhood councils do not have enough time with a 30-day comment period. We would like that extended to an additional 60 days. I know Lori had indicated 60 days total, but I'd like to say an additional 60 days. That's because most of our work is done at the committee level. The committee level then elevates it to the overall work in the general meeting that we have monthly. So it would really help us to be able to provide you with good comments after we analyze and have the opportunity to talk to our local communities. And Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council borders the whole Gaffey corridor that this project is going to be in. So it's really important that we have that opportunity to query the community and have the community have the opportunity to state what they're looking for. And as you can well imagine, many people are not used to actually reading these types of documents. So we may even need time to help people understand what the document's all about. So I would hope that you would please consider that.
Okay, thank you, Ray.
Okay. East Yard, you're now unmuted.
Hey, hello. This is Nathan with East Yard. My bad, I'm doing dishes. But maybe I missed it. Could y'all explain the process of how I understand this is going through the city planning commission, and then from there, is there more like commissions, or will this eventually end up at the LA City Council? Yeah, if y'all can just explain the process a little bit more of like what.
Sure, no problem at all. So yes, you're correct. So we're in the first stages of the project review, which is really focusing on the environmental review of the project. After that's complete, the city will hold a public hearing. I should say the Department of City Planning will hold a public hearing. Um, and then the project will be presented to the Planning Commission, as you stated. The Planning Commission will make a recommendation on the legislative entitlements. So, for example, that includes the specific plan, and those entitlements will be heard also by the City Council, where oftentimes there is another opportunity to provide public comment at the City Council. But as far as the initial decision maker for the project entitlements, that is the City Planning Commission. One caveat to that is there is a requested vesting tentative tract map, which essentially just means the applicant's requesting to subdivide the land. That decision, it will be before the subdivision committee, and they will have the opportunity at that point to certify the EIR and decide whether to approve or not the subdivision, the request for the vesting tenant tract map. And then after that is complete, that is when the project will move to City Planning Commission and then to City Council. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. And then will
Okay.
this presentation be shared with us?
It will be available. So if you just send me an email, I can go ahead and share it with you. It usually takes a day or two to have Zoom send us the presentation. But yes, it will be available.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Whitney, you've now been unmuted.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Whitney. I had a question. I also joined late, so I'm not sure if this was covered, but for any like contamination that is on the site and remediation process that would need to happen, is that also being explored into the project? And is there any insight into how community can engage in that process and also track progress?
Yeah, that's a great. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know if I have another question, but not sure if I should ask them consecutively or if I should wait.
Is it related to the first one?
No.
Okay, let me answer this one first, if you don't mind. Then we can, then you can ask your second question. So yes, in terms of remediation, and if there's anyone from the applicants team that can add to this, please feel free. But there is separate remediation going on right now that the Regional Water Quality Control Board is overseeing. In addition to that, within the EIR, there will be a hazards section prepared. And not to get too much into the weeds, but the hazards section will be based on a phase 1 study, which will really look at what are potential existing contaminants on site. And if there are whatever is uncovered, what are the next steps to make sure that remediation of that occurs prior to the construction of the proposed uses. So when the refinery is shut down, there definitely will be a remediation step before construction of the town center, the industrial uses is moved forward with.
Okay. Yeah,
And
thank you for. Yeah, my second question, I guess just clarification on the process. So for this meeting, any comments that we make on like the project aren't going to be considered part of the record? Like you'd prefer for us to submit our comments via writing?
Yeah, and thank you for asking that. So the California Environmental Quality Act actually requires that any comments be provided in writing to be considered part of the record. So yes, this is how I would frame this, is looking at it more as like an information session where the city wants to make sure there's an opportunity to know who the project planner is, myself, know that we are a real person, that you can reach out to us, email, call me. But yes, if you want your comment to be considered part of the record, you would need to email it to me or send it through physical mail. And it can be as easy as just sending me an email and saying, I made this comment at the public scoping meeting. I want it to be part of the record, and then I will add it to the project file.
Okay, yeah, thanks for clarification. I think just the last thing I definitely echo the request for an extension on submitting public comment
Okay,
or written comments. Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Grace Lawrenson, you've now been unmuted.
Okay, hi, I'm Grace Lawrenson, and I'm concerned, has there been any thought given to some of the land being used for affordable housing? It seems like we've got so much industry in that area already, and we really need housing. Question.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Grace. I can answer from the perspective as what was proposed as part of the project application. And so as you've seen by watching this presentation, at this time, there is not a housing component proposed. I, don't know if that's something that was considered, but what's in front of us today is commercial uses on the north side and then industrial warehouse on the south side. I mean, I will say, as far as speaking to the industrial uses, it is, almost immediately adjacent to the port. But I know that the applicant's team in doing community outreach has heard that the surrounding community would also like some commercial uses, such as a grocery store, such as retail and restaurant, so that they're not having to commute to adjacent communities to access those types of uses. So, but to answer your question, the project proposed today is commercial uses on the north, specifically retail, restaurant, recreational spaces, sports facilities, and then industrial on the south.
Thank you.
Sure.
Kathleen, that is all we have for now for raised hands.
Okay, thanks, Kirsten. Yeah, so we don't have any other raised hands. There, I see one more, but yeah, if anyone has a question or a comment that they'd like to ask, please go ahead. That's the goal of this meeting, so please don't be shy.
Paula Vargas, you've now been unmuted.
Hi everyone. Paula Vargas, she, her, with also with East Yard Communities for Environmental Justice. Thank you, Kathleen, for this presentation. This was also really helpful just to get some clarifying questions too on the process. So I did have a question around the sort of the land use space in general, and if there has been consideration of using the industrial land for zero emission infrastructure, or to sort of advance, seeing as the refinery is shutting down because of the shift away from fossil fuel infrastructure, right? So was there any also consideration of also using the land to advance the shift towards zero emission infrastructure? And yeah, and also just if there's also a consideration of expanding that 75-acre land for community benefits, because I think a lot of the focus has been on the 75 acres, right? That's gonna have the retail and the walking plats and things like that. But a lot of it's gonna be industrial, right? It's not very much equal at all. And a lot of most of this land is still not gonna benefit residents, like what Grace said around affordable housing. It's still not very compatible or useful to residents, even though they are gonna have this quote 75-acre section. So yeah, I was wondering if there is any thought around that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So just so everyone's aware, as Paola noted, the town center comprises about 74 acres, and then the industrial center is about 366 acres. As far as sustainability, the project will be required to comply with the LA Green Building Code, as well as the state's green building standards. And then in addition to that, Assembly Bill 98 regulations, this project will be subject to that. And to, I guess, just to briefly touch on AB 98, those are regulations that industrial warehouse uses are required to comply with that really were adopted to make these types of uses more, shall we say, green. So really making sure they're energy efficient, providing solar panels, and there'll be a discussion of these applicable regulations, I should want to emphasize, within the land use section of the EIR. But again, the project will have to demonstrate compliance with it. There are different tiers of this assembly bill. So depending on the tier that the project falls into, kind of speaks to how compliant or how restrictive the regulations are in terms of being green. And then, sorry, Paola, your second question was just in terms of the acreage as far as the town center, the commercial uses, and then also compared to the southern portion, which is the industrial. I guess kind of similar, and I apologize, I forgot Grace. I think Grace had asked about residential uses. I want to emphasize that this is what has been proposed to the city, the project application. So the city is required to analyze what is proposed. I want to, as far as being, community benefit, I do want to acknowledge that, again, the site is close to the port. The industrial portion, we don't have the numbers yet, but this will be included in the EIR, will bring a number of jobs, which this will be included in the population and housing section. That information will be disclosed. So I think that's something that, every community is really looking for right now. But again, do want to acknowledge that, yes, there is no residential component proposed right now. And that it is the commercial on the north again, and the industrial on the south. Did that answer your question, Paola? Sorry, I want to make sure that I actually responded to it.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Okay. One thing, sorry, Kirsten, before you call the next person, if you've provided a public comment or if you commented, we want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to. So if there's something you'd like to add to your comment, if you could just go ahead and email me, whether you want to have a phone call or just provide your public comment in email, that would be great. We just want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to provide comments or ask questions. So we are asking that at this time, it's one comment per person.
Thanks, Kathleen. So next we are going to go to Tori. I have unmuted you, so you may now press the unmute button.
Hi there. This is actually Adriana Garcia. So I'm borrowing my job's Zoom account. I didn't realize that my name was Tori. Apologies.
I'm sorry, can you say
I'm
your
also
name? Can you say your name one more time? I didn't catch it.
sure. Adriana
Adriana,
Garcia.
okay,
So
great.
yeah,
Thank you.
I live in Long Beach, and I'm also a member. I participate with ECR's Communities for Environmental Justice, and I'm wondering, at first I'm like a little confused just because this looks like the project in Pedro, and I just attended a community meeting for the Phillips 66 site in Wilmington, but I wouldn't be surprised if the development kind of looks the same in both communities, just because the renderings are beautiful, but a lot of like the design and architecture tends to look very similar in different cities and communities. So just wanted to clarify like which project this is. And then And my other question was just regarding like where you are, like the project status, where you are in the development, and then clarifying like ownership of this property. Is like Phillips 66 transferring land ownership back to the city, or is the city purchasing this from Phillips 66? That's all. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for the presentation.
No problem. So great questions. And if I missed anything, please feel free to chime in. So one, to clarify, this is the presentation for the Phillips 66 site. The proposed project name, just so everyone's aware, is 5 Points Union Center. But it will be developed on the Phillips 66 site. As far as the project status, where we are, so we are in the very, very early stages of the environmental review, which is the first step of the project review. And to just briefly touch on that again, so the project itself has to undergo a full environmental impact review, environmental impact report. If that EIR is then certified by the city, then the next milestone is for the project to move forward with the requested entitlements. And the initial decision maker in that regard is the City Planning Commission. And then they will make a recommendation to the City Council on whether or not to approve the project. As far as preparation, just so everyone knows, of draft EIR, it is not a quick turnaround by any means. This an EIR can take several months to prepare at a minimum, I would say. So again, we just really are early on in the process. And then as far as ownership, my understanding, and again, if this is incorrect, someone from the applicant's team, please feel free to chime in. But Phillips 66 is the project owner. They own the land. The city will not be purchasing the site from the city, from the Phillips 66. And then Heather, Josh, they are the project applicants. They will be developing the actual project. Oh, Heather, you're muted, but I see you talking.
Thank you.
Yes, just to clarify that you got that pretty much exactly right. We are with Catellis and DECA, and we've been engaged to work on the approvals for the project and working with the community and kind of reimagining what this is and then getting it through the city's process.
Okay, I don't see any other hands raised at this time. We can wait a couple of minutes in case someone is thinking they may have a question. Oh, and again, sorry, if you have asked a question, we are going to ask that people just have one opportunity to speak. But I am happy, again, to have a phone call, respond to emails and such. So please do reach out to me if you have any questions. Oh, Miguel, Kirsten, do you mind unmuting Miguel?
Yes.
Thank you.
Miguel, you've now been unmuted.
Hi, good evening, Kathleen. This is Miguel. Just from my experience right now, driving through this site because I just got off work and I was stuck in traffic for a long time, and I was just wondering how do you guys plan to alleviate traffic flow in this area? Are you guys planning to create more walkable accessibility into the site? Because you got this 110 freeway, you got Gaffey, you got Anaheim, which basically creates a gridlock. And how do you guys plan to just create a more walkable environment? Because when I'm looking at this plan, at the site plan, it's mostly parking lots, and you said this project may be completed by 2050. And is there any plans to, I guess, also deviate from parking restrictions, parking requirements, just because this looks like one massive parking lot? And Just any, right now, just like those questions that I have for now.
Sure, yeah, totally understandable. I think we've all experienced traffic, and I'm not going to sit here and deny that it doesn't exist. As far as Miguel, were you able to see the presentation, or did you join late? I shouldn't say did you join late. Did you join when you were able?
I was able to listen to it,
Okay, you
but
were able to.
I've seen the site plans from
Okay.
the articles and the NOP you sent out.
Okay, so what I'm sharing here on the screen is the pedestrian access, and specifically for the town center, because that's where really the visitors, patrons will be on the project site. And so there's, well, first we have the signalized new crosswalks, and that's really to provide connection between the southern portion of the town center and northern. Then really quick, the northern portion of the town center is going to connect to the Ken Malloy Harbor Regional Park. And then these stars on this that have just come up, those are all of the proposed new access points for pedestrians. And what I want to highlight is you'll see with the vehicle access, it's also dispersed, not exactly in the same place as where pedestrians would access a site, since it's not something that I know when I access a site, I don't want to be dealing with vehicles and such. But there are a number of pedestrian and vehicle accesses along Gaffey and Anaheim, just to make sure there is opportunity for dispersion of both uses, and to make sure we don't have like in terms of vehicles queuing into one driveway, right? Because that's something that's going to lead to queuing on a roadway, back up on a roadway, and no one wants that. So the proposal that you can see here is that there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vehicle access points along Anaheim, the southern portion, 2 along the northern portion to access a sports facility and soccer fields, and then you have your 1 ingress-egress driveway along Gaffey Street. As far as the parking, this project is proposing a specific plan. And to just generally speak about specific plans, so what this project will do is it will look at the zoning that will be for the site under the updated community plan, which is currently going through the approval process. And then they will, the applicant's team will request for certain deviation. So that will most likely include a deviation from the parking standard. Right now, I believe the total number of spaces proposed for both options is around 6,000 spaces. It varies depending on whether it's the additional outdoor storage option or the reduced outdoor storage option, but it is 6,000 spaces. The other thing that the applicant's team has brought up to us is just making sure that there is flexibility in terms of the surface parking, specifically for the southern portion of the town center, hopefully to make sure that it's not always only solely parking. And if there's anything Heather or anyone wants to add to that, please feel free. But oh, Heather, you're on mute.
I keep doing that. I'll just add quickly that I don't think we're proposing to go under the parking required now by the city. I think we're proposing to meet it and exceeding. I know that parking is a big concern for a lot of folks, so we're not proposing to provide less than the city requires. And just on the just to follow up on the kind of pedestrian connections, we agree that we really want to make this walkable and accessible. And that's why we are redoing the sidewalk on Anaheim to bring it off the street, add trees, make it much more comfortable. We're adding a whole new sidewalk on Gaffey, which is a mile stretch to connect, 5 Points all the way down to the south. So we really are trying to make this much more, as you can see, that the new sidewalk off Anaheim on the side, and this picture on the left-hand side, much more accessible for pedestrians and for residents who live nearby. So I hear that comment, and we definitely agree.
Thanks, Miguel, for the comment. Really appreciate it. Okay, I do not see any other hands raised, but I do want to make sure that the slide with my contact information is shared, just so everyone has it. So it's up there. And again, please do feel free to email me. You can also send your comment letter via mail. It does get to us. But if you have any questions that you want to discuss over the phone, I'm also happy to set up a phone call. And with that, I think we'll wait a couple more minutes just to see if any other comments come up. And then other than that, we'll probably go ahead and end the meeting. Okay, I do start to see some people leaving, so I just want to officially thank everyone for your time and participation. We really do appreciate it. And again, please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I do try to be responsive. And again, just thank you for taking your own time to participate in the meeting tonight. We're going to go ahead and end it. Thank you so much.